The 4A state championship game this year is a rematch from a year ago. Two very familiar teams coming to War Memorial Stadium as the Sheridan Broncs take on the Chinese Thunderbirds, visiting with Sheridan head coach Jeff Mowry. And Jeff, I saw you, and apparently watching your daughter at state swimming had no effect on your guys' pregame preparation to put up 62 and a half. How did you feel how you played in the semifinals Friday night?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to not have school that day. Had parent-teacher conferences earlier in the week, so I was really fortunate to be able to go watch my freshman daughter in her first state swim meet. So yeah, it was a little unorthodox pregame routine for myself. Usually you're trying to finalize call sheets and everything like that, and instead I was in a hot and humid space with a lot of noise. But it was a fun event to attend, and one of our referees, Mike Jennings, was the head official for the swim meet too, and so he's pulling double duty. But our guys were well prepared, and I'm very fortunate to have a staff that I can trust that they did our walkthrough and everything without me. And they did a great job. Obviously, our guys came out ready to play from the very first drive. We went, had a little bit longer drive than we had hoped. We had a few setbacks. I think two holding penalties that set us back, but we're still able to get those first points on the board. And then defense got us the ball back again and got some more points on the board.
You guys have obviously made several trips to Laramie. You kind of know how it goes. How much of a benefit is that in this type of situation where you've got a number of guys who have been here, but also at the same time, you're used to kind of what to expect and what goes on for this championship game Saturday?
I think that's one of the benefits of a home field advantage is when you're at home, you're in a comfortable setting. You know where the locker room is, all your stuff's here. You're not pulling it out of a bag, and you're not saying, "Oh my gosh, I forgot this," and we're both on the road. We have a home team in this game, but we're both on the road, and Laramie's a long ways from Sheridan. It's a long bus trip and everything like that. So I think there's a little benefit to us kind of knowing where the facilities are and the routine of things. That being said, it's a new team. There are 30 new sophomores on our team that weren't on the team a year ago. And so it's a new setting for them. And so we've really got to get down there and get them familiar so they can get settled in. Even our juniors and seniors, it was a different role for them next year. So they might have, in the stadium been in awe and just looking around at the crowd and things. Well, this year they're going to have to be out on the field, and it's a noisy place. We've got to get them comfortable with that setting so that they're able to execute at their best.
You guys won the regular season game against Cheyenne East down in the capital city. What do you take away from that, if anything?
I think the thing I take away from that is Cheyenne East is a very, very good football team. We were very fortunate to come away from that game with a win. That's a very hard place to play. We hadn't won down there in a long time, and in fact had gotten our butts beaten quite handily there a number of times. And so very fortunate to get out of there with a win. Coach Goff and his staff have a wonderful team, and they are fast, and they, not very many times you get a win and you give up 560 yards of offense. And that's what we did. And so we know what we've got in front of us. We cannot give up 560 yards of offense, or I don't think we have a shot in this game. We've got to be able to be better defensively, and we've got to be able to score points. And they're a tough defense to score points against. We were fortunate to have some big plays and a couple takeaways, and we can't just rely on that this year. We've got to be better in all three facets.
So they're going to make adjustments. You're going to have to adjust that. So what are you looking at? What do you emphasize and stressing to your team this week, Jeff?
I think the biggest thing is we're going to have to be tough. The toughness is going to be huge. They are a very, very aggressive team on offense and defense. They can score really quickly, and they can create turnovers and cause disruption defensively. And so we've really got to be physical and try to win the line of scrimmage. I think that's really where it comes down to. And then when we have opportunities to make tackles and blocks, we've got to be physical at those points too. And so not just at the line of scrimmage, but our receivers and our linebackers and DBs, we've got to win those physicality matchups because they are fast. And if they get out in the open field, it's going to be tough. And if we're out in the open field, they're very good tacklers. And so we've really got to be really good blocking and tackling and physical in both of those.
Jeff, thanks so much for the time. I wish you best of luck on Saturday at 4 p.m. We'll see you here in Laramie.
Thanks, David. Have a great day.
The 4A championship game is the last one of the weekend, Saturday, 4 o'clock at War Memorial Stadium here in Laramie. Visiting with Cheyenne East head coach Chad Goff is back in a familiar position. You guys have been in the title game 3 of the last 4 seasons. What do you think that says about your squad right now and your program, Chad?
Just it's a bunch of kids that work really hard. They buy into each other. They buy into their coaches. Their coaches buy into them, and they execute. They're just it's truly a good group of kids with high character, and they're fun to coach.
You guys had a tight game in the semifinals. What'd you take away from the win against Natrona last Saturday?
A lot of good things. I think it's good to be battle tested. There's times there's been games this year where your kids didn't play the whole game or thing like that. And so we really, between Natrona and Rock Springs, our kids had to play where they hadn't really played since Sheridan a full game or anything like that. And so that was it's good to do that, and to see the offense we saw. That I told the kids 5 weeks ago, like, if I was coaching against Cheyenne East, I would try to hold the ball out of our offense's hands. Our offense does a good job with the ball in their hands, and the last 2 games, that's been the game plan against us. And the kids, they rose up and they had to play. They had to play tough. That Natrona game was a tough football game, and those kids, that's a 2,400 pound offensive set that we were going against, and the average is 270 pounds, and our heaviest kid was 215 at the time, and so just a testament to how hard those kids have worked and how tough they are, just to keep lining up and putting their hands in the dirt and just going play after play. So I was super pumped for that.
What did you take away from the first game against Sheridan?
A lot. There's a lot of things that you could take away from a game like that, and one is special teams wise, we just didn't do a great job that night, and it really kind of helped us focus on that, and it's something we've been focusing on since. And offensively, we got to make sure that we're getting more out of each possession, and whether it be field position, points, whatever, we got to get more out of possessions. And defensively, we have to eliminate the big play.
Yeah. So what do you look at? They're going to make some adjustments. You're probably going to make some adjustments. What do you kind of stress and emphasize into your team as you prepare for this big game Saturday?
Details. It's what we've been working on the last few days, and just emphasizing. I told them, if you don't know how to block, you wouldn't be here. If you didn't know how to tackle, you wouldn't be here. If you didn't know how to catch, throw, whatever, you wouldn't be in this position. So, this week's a lot about the details, the understanding of the game plan, what we need out of each phase, and so that's just kind of been the focus and the work, and that'll continue to be the work.
Do you like how do I want to put this? Do you like the fact that you play Sheridan in this same situation last year for some of these kids that are back this year, so they kind of have an understanding of the big stage?
Yeah, a lot of these kids were involved in that game last year, and so hopefully it won't be eyes wide open, and you show up and you play the game, and so we're fortunate in that aspect that we've got a lot of kids that were on that field last year, and they understand. You get kind of out of what you normally do, and so they understand that we got to follow a little bit different pregame stuff, because that's out of our control for some of it, and so we just got to make sure that we can be better prepared before that game starts.
Chad, thanks so much for your time. Wish you best luck. We'll see you here on Saturday. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.